Hello, galactic travelers, cosmic crew. What's up? Happy Venus Day. Happy Venus Day. If you didn't know, Friday is Venus Day, of course, right? I mean, Friday night was always more fun than Saturday because Friday night's always one of those nights that, you know, you got off work in the old energy and you were like, I really, you know, Saturday night's the big plans, but what happens when we set expectations on those big plans? They always fell apart. That's why Friday was always such a better day, right? And of course it's Venus Day because it's all about manifesting. So this morning I woke up with this on my heart. Proof. What the hell is proof? Like, where did this concept come from? Let's think about this. You know, you meet somebody and we're talking about different things and that light's really bright. And they'll say, you know, how do you know this? Like, what's the proof? And, you know, this really bugs the crap out of me. When people say this, because I always say the truth according to who? The truth according to men that wrote books. Okay, that's their truth, but that's man's truth. And the truth that I'm telling you is part of it. Everything's part of the story, right? So in the old energy, in the old model, you know, everything required this proof of, you know, having to go to court, having to prove your right. And whether we're stuck in this old program by keeping boxes of things or keeping pictures or just anything that reminds you of this negative emotion, why do we keep this stuff around? Why do we do this? There's a difference between memories and you put them up and, you know, when you're 80 years old, you want to pull them out. And then there's those of us, it's like we're asking for it. It's like, you know, we're keeping that old letter. We're keeping that old anything. And why are we doing that? But proof, you know, when I sold my company to these people, I had this box of proof. And I kept it for 5 years, and it was like all the bank statements, and you know, it was in writing, all these things that had happened, but I knew what had happened, and I had that box to prove everything. You know, this is what happened to me, and I had this box to prove. But even if in the old energy, I didn't use that box and fight, because on a soul level, even though I didn't realize what the hell I was doing, on a soul level, I knew that would keep me, I could take that box and I could go into the law of man, and I could go to a judge, and I could go, you know, hand out all these papers, and I know that it's the truth, but the system is making me prove it to everyone else, and all the dollar signs and the lawyers that are part of it. You know, what is this concept of proof? We really need to you know, like, I'm asking you, what is proof? And there's so many of us that are, you know, I think this is happening in two ways, right? One is we have to prove it to ourselves. We have to prove it to ourselves that we know what the hell we're talking about. And that's the most important thing. And that's the only proof that you need to give. There's no need to explain why you feel. There's no need to explain anything anymore. I mean, like, you be you. You do you. If that isn't what you resonate to, then don't focus on it. And don't be angry. Don't be bitchy about it. But, you know, be conscious. Hey, I'm not going to go do that, or I think I'm going to not participate because of this, and this. And if those people don't accept it, then you know that they're not people you want to be hanging around with in this new energy, right? Because we are in manifestation heaven, and just freaking wait. Just wait. Just wait until the critical mass is reached for the masses, and we're going to get like a rocket ship of energy, and we're all just boop. So, you know, this is a good time to be cleaning out and thinking about this. And also, you know, we're going into a time where everything is ass backwards, mirror and merge. So we're all going to come across people that were professionals in philosophy or in science or technology or physics, and not to say that any of those people are wrong, but a lot of them are missing this final bit of information. And I've been in a situation like this many, many times just in the past, just since the OA came completely online, because that's where I was actually helping finish some physics stuff and some code things, and was around someone who had all of this knowledge. And, you know, we were researching back and forth and going back and looking at different things. And this is where I got a ton of my personal proof, because it didn't, I realized while, you know, I'm saying these things and all this new information's coming out on Excalibur's sword and E equals MC squared, and vibrations of numbers and how they're relative to the matrix code. And I mean, this was some crazy stuff we got up in here for sure. All of us do. But at that particular time, the reason I had access to it is because it was right after that full moon, the Wesak full moon, the last Wesak full moon. So the consciousness and the energy was so high. And so whenever you're in that high resonating place, it's when you grasp etheric information that you might not have all the time, you know? So just FYI, I mean, that's where we're going. Like, this information's just online, but I'm spewing it. I'm talking it, and it's just coming. And this man's going behind, and he's like, this equals this, and this equals this, and oh my gosh, that's the secret, and all these things. And then I would get into where I was kind of having to argue with him about certain points, you know, later on, after we'd already proved it. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because remember that there's new information on the planet. Remember that the man-made constructs are man-made. So just because you have answers that philosophers and psychologists and scientists and technologists and healers and doctors and I mean, come on. Just because you have knowledge that they don't have doesn't mean shit anymore. I mean, our kids are going to be teaching us stuff. Again, I say this all the time, but we're going to have younger and younger leaders, and we're going to be looking to these youngsters. I mean, hell, we're looking for them now to tell us some of these inventions that we need on the planet. It's a totally different time. But this need for proof. You know, you're in the courtroom and I gotta have proof. Give me proof, and then I give you all the proof, and then I gotta wait for all these other people's opinions to tell me if it's truth or not. And then we know all the other crap that goes on behind scenes of every single bit of it as well. So don't get involved in that system. I don't have to give anybody proof, because I don't focus on the fact that I need to anymore. So it really doesn't come up anymore, because I cleared that energy. I did it right then. And don't get me wrong, I still second guess myself and all that stuff happens. But when it comes to, you know, this information that's coming out, like we're to the point where we can just talk freely about it. But this word proof, you know, this goes back to lawyers and government. It's this mental left brain process. It's whenever you know something and you know it to be true, whether it's a vision, whether it's a feeling, whether it's whatever it is, you know that it is. So go with it. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. The most important thing is to just trust it. And as a society, we defend, because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to defend. We've been, you know, every TV show on cable for 20 freaking years. You know, I'm 45 years old, so every TV show for 20 years has been what? Courtroom drama, murder drama. Everybody always ends up where? In front of the judge, or in jail, or with a lawyer. The lawyers are all what? Tied to what? The judges are tied to what? The government came from what? The government came from the Catholic Church back in the day. And I'm not bashing on the Catholic Church. I mean, I think that for me, everyone's got a clean slate. All right. And then they're making some changes, and so we'll observe and step back, but you see what my point is. And the other thing that really got me going, I'm like laying down. You know, I was watching this thing on remote viewing, and I'm so intrigued about remote viewing because it's you know, it's one of those things that you don't think we can do, but I think we all do it. We just expect this weird, like, experience, and when it doesn't come out that way, then we're not really sure if we're doing it. Does that make sense? But what was so interesting is I was watching, it was Corey Good, and I forgot the other guy's name. Oh, and by the way, they've got, like, some Coco stuff, like, not Cosmic Coalition, but they're calling it, like, Cosmic something, and they had Coco in their email, so I thought it was cool. But they were talking about remote viewing, and they brought up this point. There was a guy in the audience who said he was trying to do remote viewing, and he saw something, but because he didn't have a third party to physically go to this location that he remote viewed, then it couldn't be backed up. And I was like, what? So, you know, Corey Good and them were talking about, you know, the remote viewing that's done, and we know the government does this, right? I mean, if you don't, the government does this, the corporations do this. They even have people on their payroll that this is what they do. They look into the future to look at stocks and business deals. I mean, hi. If y'all don't know this, then I'm breaking it to you right now. But even those people send somebody to see if something's really there so they can validate it. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. If you're remote viewing into different timelines, and you're not going to have somebody there to validate it. So I found that interesting because it comes back to this proof, and I don't think you need it. I mean, I don't think there's any way to get proof in a lot of the remote viewing that is done, right? But again, that goes back to that program. That program that something has to tell us that we're right. Something has to tell us that we're pretty. Something has to tell us that we're worthy. And the only way is for you to tell yourself. The only way to capture any of this magic is for us to resonate with it inside. And that's what all these other videos that I talk about, right? But I just wanted to talk a little bit about proof and the lack of need in a lot of these new things that we're seeing and that we're feeling and that we're bringing to light. What we really need is imagination. What we really need is creativity. What we really need is to use the intellect. And don't let any of this proof or these processes or these boxes or these programs or these financial systems or whatever the hell else stop us. because we got millions, thousands, I'm not even sure how many starseeds all over the planet right now that are doing exactly what we're all doing, and we're all starting from zilch, goose egg. But it's because that's we had to, right? We're way showers. We have to use our gifts and use the energy and use the knowledge to manifest out of this, and we can, and we are. And when we do that, then everyone else will see, and there's massive waves coming, massive waves coming. Right now we feel like we're swimming in an ocean and we're just one little tribe of minnows. But soon they'll all be coming for this information. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. So we have to lose these programs now. And the manifestations, only 16 minutes. It's a short video, so I'll share with you today. I had actually some manifestations come true. I went with my friend. Well, first of all, I woke up saying, we need starseed reunions. We need starseed reunions all over the planet. Like, let's plan some. Wouldn't that be it's awesome? We'll have starseed reunions. And Wayne, oh gosh, Wayne. I can't remember the name of his channel. Egert. I'll put it on the screen. Brian from Milky Way Weekly's on there, and we're all kind of starting to connect and work together, and he's planning one next year. And so it was like, sweet, he's already planning it, so awesome, you know. So ching, swoosh, there it is. You know, we already manifested that. That's cool. We can be a part of that. We can grow that. We can grow from there. So awesome. And then we went to lunch at this place, and it doesn't even matter, but I was trying to find a location to do a Cosmic Coalition, Cocoa events in Texas and start spreading them. So if you guys want to start meetups in your local area, and use Cocoa, Cosmic Consciousness, Cosmic Coalition, you know, just use Cocoa, then ... like, just go do it. But we were looking for a meetup place to start getting some college kids together, and there was this place I wanted to go where I'd been before that I thought would be perfect, which it is. It even has a back room, but our waiter at the other place, we didn't even go to the place that I wanted to have the meeting. The waiter at the restaurant was the manager of the place that we were going to next. And it's locked in. So that's the way some things are manifesting right now. And it really is like in our dream state, we are planning these things out. I mean, I think a lot of us are even consciously doing it now, to where we're kind of asleep, awake. The energy is speeding up, the vibration speeding up. I mean, I think I've been feeling my root chakra just so just, it's happening. And the waves are going to keep, when the waves come, if you're already in a higher consciousness, then it pushes it up from the bottom. So, I mean, that's how the waves come. That's why we need critical mass, right? I mean, you need critical mass to tip the scales. I mean, everything is science, weight, measurement within the body. The technology is in our body. The science is in our body. Technology and science and gauges and all these things that we have are like tarot cards. They're like astrology. The zodiac even is really just to help us understand the energy. It's a tool to gauge energy for this time in human ascension. So is the technology and the science. So let's give them proof. Let's give them our proof. Let's give them manifestation proof. Let's change that word proof to someone else telling us, prove it, prove it, prove it, and let's just do it, do it, do it. No more proof. The proof is in the pudding. I love you guys. Hoot, hoot. I hope you like the new background and everything. Tonight, walk-ins reincarnation. It's going to be a trippy talk. Milky Way Weekly. See you guys soon. Mwah. Love y'all. Oh, we haven't done this in a while. I call on the highest timeline of all dimensions, of all space and time, in this now.